Louisville, Kentucky, the home of the Kentucky Derby. But tonight, we're inside beautiful Executive Bowl with 52 lanes and host this year of the EBONITE-KENTUCKY-CLASSIC. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Durbin. Working with me once again, ABC, PBA Hall of Famer, Earl Anthony. And Earl, tonight, a veteran field going against a challenging lane condition.
Well, it's more than challenging, I think, Mike. It's a very difficult lane condition, and the scores have shown that. In the past several weeks, we've had very high scores. This particular tournament, the first 15 to 18 feet of the lane is very rough, and because of that, it creates a lot of friction, and it's very difficult for the bowlers to get the ball down the lane before it wants to hook. So we'll see some very experienced players. Our top 5 guys, all been around a while. They're all champions. They all know how to make adjustments, and that's the reason they're here, because of that ability to make good moves on tough lanes.
Well, let's find out who those 5 veteran players are. In the third position, we have the current PBA Player of the Year, Norm Duke. In the runner-up position, a man with 49 300 games, Bob Learn Jr. And our top seed, he's 4-0 from that top spot, Randy Peterson. In our opening match, we have 2-time winner this year, Dave D'Entremont, taking on 2-time Tournament of Champions winner, Mark Williams. There's the handshake. Dave D'Entremont up on lane 17, using lanes 17 and 18 here at Executive Bowl.
They're running him out right out of the gate. First shot. He's ready. He's won twice already this year, and if he wins again, Mike, don't you think he ought to be considered for Bowler of the Year race with Mike Albee?
Well, I'll tell you what, he thinks he should.
I think he should, too.
Definitely. He feels that he's right in contention if he could win tonight. Well, we talked about how tough they were. 2 opening strikes. Perfect ones.
They always make liars out of us.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
Well, there's a long way to go. We got a good start. The adrenaline's flowing. The players are pumped up. A lot of experience, as we talked about in the opening. All these players have been here before many times. Mark Williams is still looking for a win. He's been in position to win several times this year.
Twice this year.
He led the American Bowling Congress Masters and lost that. Led just a couple of weeks ago and lost in Kennewick, Washington.
When John Handigard came all the way up to beat him as he leaves a solid 10 on lane 17. You know, Mark really hasn't won since 1988.
That's amazing when you consider how talented he is and how many times he seems to get in position. Spare shooting hasn't really been a problem. A lot of oil in the middle of the lane. The ball wants to skid right over to the corner pin.
Well, that pin bounced up. If he'd had the 7-10, it would have had an opportunity.
Yeah, the carry has been the problem. The lane condition is difficult enough that the players, and there's enough friction in there, the players have to play deep inside. What they're doing is using the left side of the lane, the first 15 feet of the lane. The bowlers are laying it down on the left-hander's side, and that's because it's smoother, and they get the ball to skid farther.
And both players start with strikes and 10 pins.
But finishing that thought, the reason when they get in that deep, when they're playing that far inside, many times you'll leave the corner pins. It's just harder to carry the corners. And that's why the scores haven't been as extreme as they were, say, the last 3 weeks when we guys averaged 239, 238.
Uh-oh. Well, he's got it. He had it measured just right.
The only problem they've had, other than the fact that what I mentioned, the friction in the first 15 feet of the lane, the problem they've had more than anything else, I think it's been for them, is the approaches seem to be slippery in spots. And once in a while, they'll lose their footing, and that can cause them to get the big split or maybe even whiz a spare when they lose their balance.
Earl, on a difficult lane condition like this, how critical is speed control?
Speed control is the essence. That's really what keeps you. If you can repeat shots and continue with the same rotation, same ball speed, you can get the ball to the pocket. When you vary it slightly, the ball overreacts when the condition's difficult, and you get the big opens.
David, a little trouble with the approach, but got it in the 1-3 pocket for another solid strike. Mark Williams back up on lane 18, third frame.
All the players tonight can rev it up. They all have the big, strong ball. They can play anywhere in the lane. All very experienced. You see Mark Williams, a tremendous rotation. The rotation of the wrist creates that tremendous rotation on the bowling ball. And when the ball is rotating that much, it's easier to skid it a long ways and then create a lot of back end, and that's what makes these pins go down so strong for Mark Williams.
Taking a re-rack on lane 17. Guess he doesn't like the way that they look down there right now. He wants that double real quick.
talking to Lynn Nicholson, who's the head of the PBA lane maintenance crew, who dress the lanes for the players every week. He said that the lane condition here, the surface is rough, creates a lot of friction, so they've got a lot of oil on the lanes.
Well, right now, Mark Williams likes a lot of oil. He takes a 10-pin lead. So we're going to go to a break right now as we see Mark Williams' ball, giving him a 10-pin lead. When we come back, we'll have the second part of this match. Stay with us, please. The Ebonite-Kentucky Classic is being brought to you by Ebonite, where advanced technology has striking results. And by Office Depot, taking care of business with guaranteed low prices on thousands of brand name office supplies.
Here's a good look at the lane surface that I was talking about. You can see it on your screen just past the arrows, the rangefinder's there. You can see the dents in the lane and how rough that surface is. That's what's creating the friction and making the players play the extreme inside angle that you see Dave D'Entremont trying to play there and the ball not getting back. It's a tough spare here, Mike. The
2-4-8-10, is it possible?
It's very possible. We're going to take another look at that shot, and you can see you've got an out of bounds also. If you get the ball out near the second arrow, which is the 10 board, even from this extreme angle, watch how far out he gets the ball. He gets out in that area, it won't hook back. He's going to try to slide it across. Didn't quite. Got a little bit too much of that 2-pin.
Well, not an easy shot in any case, but an open frame giving Mark Williams a commanding lead right now.
The only good thing, if there was a good thing about that, is he was on a strike, so he didn't lose much count by getting the 9 out.
Back on his good lane that he's hit twice in a row. And a little bit softer that time and right through the heart, and that's why the condition has been so challenging all week long.
And not only that, many times you'll see this happen. A player will give the ball a little too much room, it doesn't get back, he gets some kind of a bunch of junk standing down there like he had on lane 18, and he'll ease up on the shot on 17, make an adjustment without knowing he's doing it well.
Just kind of a subconscious thing, huh?
Right.
Mark Williams working on a double, trying for 3 in a row.
He looks pretty comfortable out there. I talked to him before we went on the air, and he said he liked the shot there today. He feels there's more oil on the lanes today, and he thinks it's his shot.
That's why.
20 right-handers in the top 24, 4 left-handers. We're going to take another look at that shot of Mark Williams, his form. Here's a good look at it. Watch the wrist position all the way through the shot. Very strong physically. You can see the forearm and look at the cupped wrist position, and he keeps it that way all the way through the shot and rotates up the side of the ball. And look at the balance. Shoulders over the knee. Perfect position.
Nice long slide there, too. Boy, he's had every ball right there, Earl. Had every shot right there.
We've had 20, as I mentioned, 20 right-handers, 4 left-handers, and I think part of the reason only 4 left-handers made it, Mike, is because the right-handers are playing on the left side of the lane, taking a lot of the oil out of the heads.
So it makes the left-hander's ball hook earlier, right?
Makes it hook earlier, and it's hard to keep the ball consistent reaction to the pocket.
Right back in there. This has been a great year for Dave D'Entremont this year. He's made $116,000, last year 76. We asked him about his confidence.
Yeah, I'm back to the point where I was 2 or 3 years ago. You know, I felt like in '92 I had my best year ever, and I felt I was maybe ready to go to that next level. And unfortunately, I had about a 2-year setback, but now I'm back to where I was then. And you know, a win tonight would get me back into the race for Bowler of the Year, and bowling at home next week, it'd be nice to go home on that kind of note.
Can you believe that shot, Earl? I mean, he slid that 5 so fast in front of the 4. And the 2 somehow missed the 4 and leave it a swishing 4 there on a strike.
You don't see that very often, but with the new bowling balls, you see a lot of things we never saw, say, 5-10 years ago.
Well, Dave D'Entremont, careless on the 4-pin, misses that 4-pin. We're going to take a look at it right here.
In the last 3-4 weeks, last 4 tournaments, we've had 6 single-pin spares missed. This is number 7. And this caliber of play, that shouldn't happen. He hit the oil in the middle of the lane. He got a little lazy, slid it by.
And a couple of times it's been that 4-pin that's been missed. Dave D'Entremont seems hopelessly behind. We'll see if he can come back after this. Eastern Eastern Time. It's the Thriftway ATP Championship. Some of the top names in this: Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras. They battled just a while back. Michael Chang will be looking for his third consecutive Thriftway ATP victory. And right now, Mark Williams is looking to make it 5 in a row and just run off and hide in this opening match.
Well, he's had his troubles, as we mentioned, on television this year. It just hasn't been his year to win on television. He's qualified for the league twice, going into the championship match, and lost both times. In fact, I don't think he's won a game on TV this year, has he?
Well, you know, I talked to him earlier about maybe he needs to start in a different position, and he said, well, maybe so. Maybe that's a good omen, but he didn't like his position.
Remember, we've had that before, where the player that could win this opening match and go up the ladder, they've been very successful in the championship match. So what, 5 out of 6?
5 out of 6 once they get there.
Hard to get there, though. You got to win 3 matches against some very talented players.
Well, Randy Peterson, though, for that #1 position is 4-0, even though they've only won. They're 7-12, the top seed is this year, 7 out of 19 times. And the 210, boy, he gets a little hard, and it's a 210, a little soft, and he's through the nose.
Looks like he's really having a little problem also with his balance at the foul line. It looks like his left foot is kind of going out from under him a little bit, and it's just losing his leverage. He just can't get through the ball the same way twice.
You know, we mentioned that it's been 30 years since we were here, and Dave had this to say about what he was doing 30 years ago.
Actually, he was 4 years old, I think, wasn't he? Probably wasn't even.
Well, he said he'd already started bowling, is what he told me. He'd already started bowling.
Oh, he was already bowling?
Yeah.
Did they have bumper bowling then?
No, they didn't have bumper bowling back then.
Well, Dave's going to be happy when this game's over right now. And you can see by how he's perspiring, there's a tremendous amount of humidity here in the Louisville area. A lot of thunderstorms in the area, about 6 inches of rain last evening, something like that. And area, a lot of flash flood warnings.
Mark Williams just keeps pouring him in there.
Mark makes it look easy, doesn't he? When he gets lined up, I think he can strike with anybody on the tour. His carry power is tremendous.
Well, what I notice here is he seems to be playing a slightly tighter line than we normally see him do.
A lot of end-over-end roll as opposed to the side revolutions he usually puts on the ball. You're right, Mike. He usually gets the ball well down the lane, and the last, say, 8 or 10 feet creates tremendous hook. Right now, he's creating a lot of end-over-end and more of a curve than a hook.
And his first air, he leaves the 3-6-10. A little lapse in concentration there, but the match well in hand. He can win this one by over 100, Earl.
I wonder what the record is. Largest. I remember Larry Law beat somebody by.
No, he lost.
Larry Law beat somebody 300 to 120 or 112 or something like that years ago. Not on television.
Oh, not on TV.
But
well, I know I happened to beat Larry 279 to 150 or something like that.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah. Well, the 4-9 on the fill ball. That's the place for it. Maybe tonight is Mark Williams' night. Of course, the opponents don't get any easier. Well, we've just received a note that the all-time record is 279 to 118. So I guess this match is not in danger of challenging that. But Dave DeInter just as soon get it over right now.
We're not going to say who bowled the 118, are we?
I don't know who it is. As he finishes here with possible 4 straight opens. And that's the way it turns out. 142. 255 for Mark Williams. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about talking to yourself in the Average Builder. Be sure and stay tuned for that.